Hey guys, this is Rachel. I'm recording Monday. I'm in my backyard, so sorry if there's a little bit of noise from the street. I wanted to give you some encouragement today from the book of Esther, which is one of my favorite books of the Bible and something that I've been rereading recently. So for those of you that haven't read it before or haven't read it in a while, it's right between Nehemiah and Job in the Old Testament. It's pretty short. It's about 10 chapters, so I would encourage you to read it for the first time or reread it. And it's one of my favorite books of the Bible because it's really a powerful story about how God can use a couple or one person to do incredible things, especially ordinary people. Esther was an ordinary young woman, and that's really why I like the story, is because it's a perfect example of how God uses women in the Bible to complete his will. And I think that it's very applicable to what we're going through now. So for those of you who haven't read it or need a refresher, in Esther becomes queen through pretty strange circumstances. She's a young girl, probably around our age, who is an orphan. She lives with her uncle Mordecai, and she is Jewish, but she doesn't tell anybody in the palace that, because obviously most of the time it's not very good to be a Jewish person because you get persecuted constantly. So one of the king's advisors, Haman, comes up with this plot to pass an act that basically allows people to kill and steal from the Jews, annihilate them essentially. And the king approves of it, but he's pretty aware to what is actually happening and what it's actually doing. He's like, sure, take my signet ring, you pay me a little bit of money, and whatever you want goes. So not a great king. And specifically, I'm going to focus on Esther chapter 4, verses 12 through 17. So I'm going to read those real fast. So this is Esther 4:12. And they told Mordecai what Esther had said. Then Mordecai told them to reply to Esther, "Do not think to yourself that in the king's palace you will escape any more than all the other Jews. For if you keep silent at this time, relief and deliverance will rise for the Jews from another place, but you and your father's house will perish. And who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this?" Then Esther told them to reply to Mordecai, "Go, gather all the Jews to be found in Susa, and hold a fast on my behalf, and do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my young women will also fast as you do. Then I will go to the king, though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish." Mordecai then went away and did everything as Esther had ordered him. So the context for this is Mordecai essentially told Esther through a messenger, go to the king and tell him what's happening, and tell him, try and beg for our lives that he'll stop this. But it was a rule in the land that you couldn't legally go to the king unless you were called by him. So if Esther had gone to meet the king without permission or invitation, she likely would have just been killed on the spot, unless he granted her favor and extended his scepter to her and she touched it, then she wouldn't get killed. And you might be like, well, I mean, it's his queen, so is he really gonna kill her? But the reason why Esther became queen in the first place was because his old queen, Queen Vashti, kind of disobeyed him and wouldn't come to him when she was called. So he's kind of not a super patient man, and he's already showed that he's willing to exile or kill another queen. So Esther does have a legitimate reason to be concerned. But I just really love that verse 14. "For if you keep silent at this time, relief and deliverance will rise for the Jews from another place, but you and your father's house will perish. And who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this?" So just kind of that idea of knowing God is in control, knowing he has a plan, is very applicable right now. And also just the idea that God uses ordinary people for extraordinary things. I am in no way saying that God is going to have you save a kingdom, save a people group, save a country. That might happen, probably not. but also what might be incredible to other people might not seem incredible to you. So really, I would challenge you at this time to try and find the little ways that you can be a light, and, you know, have some positive impact in this time, whether that be praying for people you know who might be elderly, who might be widowed or alone at this time, and that's a really hard thing in quarantine. You can write them a letter. You can see if it snows again, maybe shovel an elderly person's walk, even if they're not going out. It might be just peace of mind for them. Be gracious in public. I know that sounds like a weird thing to say, but like with all this supermarket stuff and people getting in fights, just first of all, remember to be a light and Christian-like in public. And second of all, thank people who are still working at this time, because they're putting themselves in danger. You know, they have to deal with a lot of people who are scared and upset, and usually people do irrational things when they're scared and upset. So, you know, thank somebody who's working, write a letter, pray, really reach out to people in any way you can through social media if you think that somebody might be struggling, or maybe make a new friend, connect with new people. So lots of things you can do, but ultimately that idea that God is in control. He has a plan for your life. Just like Esther, that plan may be extraordinary, and it may not seem extraordinary to you, but it might make a big difference in somebody else's life. So I'll be praying for you guys. I hope you guys are all doing well. If you need anything at all, reach out to me or any of the other FCA student leaders or staff. And we're really just thinking about you guys in this time and wanting to encourage you. Thank you for watching.